Hello, everybody. Sorry we're a little bit late here. I had a bit of technical difficulties on this side. For some reason, I couldn't hear the other guys. But welcome back to another live stream. It's been a while since I've done one, but we've managed to get some fantastic guests. I don't know if you hear Alex from Carnivore for Life was meant to be on. He's got some issues, so he hasn't been able to attend tonight. But good luck to him. Hope everything's going well. But I do have three amazing guys here. I'm sure you've seen them before, especially Larry, who's got his own channel, and Carl and Richard, who's been on here a few times. So we'll just have a quick word with you, see how things are going. We've obviously been on Carnivore for different lengths of time now. I think, Larry, you've just reached a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1 year yesterday. So it's an exciting time.
Excellent, excellent. And Carl, how long have you been on it now?
I started on 20th of June last year, so I'm not quite at a year yet, but loving it.
Yeah. Excellent. And Richard, you've been on it a while as well, haven't you?
Yeah, just past 18 months, so about a year and a half.
So yeah, so you're the veteran amongst us. So we'll get into it. We'll start with you, Larry, if you don't mind. So obviously you've done a full year. What sort of has anything changed since you started? Like the way you've actually eaten, and what benefits, what pros and cons have you experienced in this year on the carnivore diet?
Yeah. Do you mind if I share a screen?
No, go for it, mate. Go.
Okay. Let me share my screen here, so it'll be in the backdrop while we let's see. Select window. Facebook Brave. There we go. You're gonna have to approve it, but it's just a picture of me over the last year. So I started at 280 pounds, in terrible shape. Retired Army guy. After COVID basically just destroyed my health. On top of the standard American diet or standard Western diet, and diving into this way of eating, I was able to go from 280 down to 232 without even hitting the gym. I went down to 232 pounds at my low. And then last December, I decided, I don't know about you guys, but I just feel motivation overcome me now, where I'd say, I just need to get outside. I need to go walk. I need to mow the lawn, whatever it is. And I just felt like I needed to join the gym. I was going to wait till January 1st and make it like a resolution, but it was like December 6th. And I'm like, what am I waiting for? I just feel like going to the gym today. So I just went to the gym that day, signed up, and started lifting. And now I'm back. I mean, I played rugby in college. I was a second row lock, basically. And I feel like I'm almost in that shape again at the age of 58. I'll be 58 in May. So I've gained basically my physical health back, my mental health, my motivation, all these things have changed. And I hit all my goals. I hit more goals than actually, I can't even say that. I did not have this goal. I did not have a goal to be in this good a shape in 1 year. It all just happened. And it was simple and it was hard. I say the first 6 weeks were hard. After that, it was simple and easy. But the beginning is definitely a challenge, and you have to set your why and go after it. But definitely worth it. So now my next goal is for the next year. Actually, I'm giving myself a 2-year goal to be in the best shape of my life when I hit 60. That's my goal. When I hit 60, I want to be in better shape than this. I want to be, 6-pack abs, ready to just rip my shirt off and do a commercial or something, right? That's what I want to be. I want to be in action hero shape. So I'm just going to keep lifting. I'm just eating like a dozen eggs a day now. So my diet's changed now that I'm lifting. I'm eating a dozen eggs a day. I'm eating just beef. Very little other things if I do ever, but I eat my eggs raw. So I've changed the way I eat. I did go through a period when I started, I was eating a lot of bacon and snacks, and I was pretty loosey-goosey with my carnivore as far as like I'd eat cheese for snacks, things that I probably shouldn't have, a lot more dairy. And then I did, after 3 months, I did like a lion diet for a month, and that really straightened out my diet. And then I reintroduced a few things, but I really didn't miss too much. I'm mostly lion with eggs and butter.
Excellent. So have you got much in terms of weight? I know you can't really go with weight when you're doing weight training as well, but have you got like an ideal weight that I know you want your 6-pack, so it's probably hard to work it out, but is there an ideal weight that you've got in your
head? I think I'm close to it. I mean, I'll probably lose a couple pounds. I'll probably get down to 225 to 230.
Yeah.
But I mean, so here's an interesting thing. 2 weeks ago, I went and bought 6 pairs of shorts for the summer. That was a mistake. because now they're already loose. My waist is still going down, even though my weight has stabilized. My waist size is going down. And so now I've got all these shorts I'm going to end up donating or selling. I don't know. And I've made a new thing now. Until I get to a stable waistline, I'm just going to buy 2 pairs of shorts at a time and 2 pairs of pants, never more, until I've made a couple cycles where I'm just stable. Because it's ridiculous how fast you start losing weight. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Either that or you're going to have to start learning how to do your own seamstress, like cut on your shorts and
not likely. Yeah.
So yeah, no, you've done fantastic. I think them photographs just show the transformation that you've done, and like for 365, whatever it is, days now, that is incredible. Anybody that is watching and considering doing the carnivore diet, that's a good advertisement. If you, like you said, he wasn't even perfect to start off with in terms of, he was a lot looser with what you ate. So yeah, fantastic. Another guy that has had an amazing transformation. I've actually changed the thumbnail on this video because we were, like I said, we were meant to have Alex on. We've now got Richard. You've also had an amazing transformation. I still believe I've got a photograph, and we've talked about this a couple of times on here, but I just think it's fantastic to show it every time you're on. So this was you. Was it 2 years ago, roughly?
That one was just under 2 years ago. Yeah.
And it's hard to tell when you're sitting in the camera here, but if we look at you actually quite recently, you can see the difference. You've got the actual trousers in your hand here that you had on that first photograph.
Yeah.
So you get called half the man, which is clearly, you can see why. So this is all purely just down to what you've eaten, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's I started off very ill, both metabolically and various things. I had a number of conditions, so my motivation was to try and reverse those or limit or crush the symptoms as best as I could. And losing weight was a big part of that process and that target and that goal. I started off at 325 pounds.
Wow.
Believe it, and I'm now down to, well, I've just hit my goal weight about 2 weeks ago, so I got a pound under 11 stone, which was just a little thing that I wanted to do. So what's that in pounds? I'm just doing on my calculator now.
151, I think.
100 and so about 150, about 153, 154 pounds from 325, and that took me 18 months to do. Just embrace the whole low carbohydrate diet to start off with. Started looking at YouTube channels, and like we all did, I saw various people which were very influential and inspiring. I thought, well, I've done just about every other diet, which has always been successful because it's always been a carb restriction thing for me. But like with all carb restriction diets, and from what I've understand and read, is that they work, but you basically work because you're starving yourself. And when you run out of motivation or discipline and things like that, it just starts to pile back on. You start going back into old ways. And as I was getting on in the years, I thought, well, I've got to find something. So kind of committed to a lifestyle change rather than a diet. The diet was part of that, but that was more the focus. So I started on low carb, very quickly went to keto, less than 20 grams of carbs a day, and found myself feeling so much better. And more importantly, all the things that I'd experienced, my type 2 diabetes was reversed, hypercholesterolemia, all the metabolic issues I've got, they just went so quickly. I thought, I'm onto something here. Mm-hmm. Why didn't anybody tell me about this before? So I ended up very quickly going on to, after about 6 months on keto, lost about 4 or 5 stones. Which was great, and I thought, I'll have a bash at this carnivore thing. It's a bit of me, that is, like, quite basic, and go out and kill something with a big rock and eat everything you possibly can. That's a bit of me, that is, and I've been that way for quite a while. So I went on to carnivore and found that just fantastic. It just suits me type of thing. I do appreciate that it's not a one lifestyle, one diet suits all. I get that, and that's why I really enjoy the spectrum of low carb eating, right from, just cutting your carbs down right up to line diets and things. So carried on to carnivore, went on to line diet end of last year for just two months, sort of November, December, and a couple of weeks into January. And then the plan then was to go, okay, let's go back to carnivore, and then start really committing to the more stricter things of the carnivore diet, specifically fasting. So I've always, just by definition, intermittent fasted. Going to OMAD was very easy. That was pretty much what I did anyway. And now I've been, for the last, since mid-January, been doing extended fasts. So I've been doing, I've had to play around with 3-day extended fast, water fast, eating for 4 days, and then 3-day fast again for January, which worked fantastic, felt really good. And then into February, into March, carried on doing that. So I pretty much do a 3-day fast 1 week, and then eat for 4, and then do a couple of day fast, eat for 5, and then back to 3 again. So I've been doing that and feeling really, really good, right? Really, really good. The first day of every fast, I always find I'm hungry on that one. I think that's because mentally I know what I'm going to be doing over the next few days. Day 2 of my extended fast, feel fantastic. Really, really feel regenerated, revived. And that's been working well for me. So I'm going to continue to do that to the end of March. And then I want to go back onto lion diet then. So I've got a specific plan ahead of me. I know what works and what makes me feel great. So that's where I am now. So, from 325 pounds down to 153 pounds in about 18 months, and all my illnesses, all my metabolic conditions, everything reversed. And I now take 0 medications, where I was taking 18 pills a day. Wow. And that was, and more important, as my friend said, that was just to keep you sick. Mm-hmm. So there was no real benefit apart from it was just about keeping me alive. So those have all gone. My doctor doesn't believe me, which is wonderful, because I always have a lovely debate. Now she dreads me coming in there because she knows she's in for a half-an-hour debate. And I've immersed myself in the data, in the science of all this and everything else, which is my cup of tea, because that's what really keeps me disciplined.
Yeah. Have you done anything along the same lines as Larry in terms of upping your exercise regime? Or...
I have, yeah. I've got restrictions on what I can do, because unfortunately I have suffered with, and I think I'm convinced myself that this is a product of the long-term type 2 diabetes, and more importantly the mismanagement of that diabetes. So I suffer with osteoarthritis. Don't get me wrong, I'm not wheelchair bound, thank God. However, it places a bigger restriction on me. So a lot of my primarily resistance training, which is done at home with as heavy as I can lift weights and things like that. So exercise is going up, but I struggle with distance, running, walking, and things like that, because the inflammation I get. I can do it, however, I'm restraining that. But the plan is to start picking that up, because the inflammation I get from doing mobile exercise, any cardio exercise, is reduced dramatically. Yeah. If I'd ever attempt, for instance, when I first started doing this, one of the targets I had when I was trying to do exercise was walking from one street lamppost to the next, and every day going to the next lamppost and back. We're talking 100 yards out of my front door, and then leaning on the lamppost for 20 minutes out of breath, and with my back and my knees going to cut. And I built that up over a period of time, type of thing. So so I'm massively more mobile, but I want to sort of improve my internal health as much as I possibly can. But at the moment, I'm sticking to heavy resistance at home.
Yeah, and it's still really early days for you as well. Nobody really knows how good you can still get yet. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I'm looking forward to finding out just how internally and externally healthy I can get at my age. That's the thing I want to. That's the challenge I've set myself for this year. I want to get to peak physical fitness for my age and my size and everything else. That's my what I've targeted and challenged myself. One of my goals for this year.
So
Yeah.
Richard, have you tried band exercises, or is it just free weight?
Resistance band. I did start with those, Larry. Yeah, when I sort of made the decision to start doing resistance exercises,
That's what I use.
I started off with bands.
Me too.
Bands allowed me to see how far I could push my joints in
Right.
regards to the osteoarthritis. And that it's quite good. You have sort of massive control over that, and you can not only gently increase or the flexation or whatever it may be, but also as well you can change the bands, as you know, and get greater resistance from them. So I did do those, and I still do those today. So I tend to do one resistance band session in the morning, and then in the afternoon I do another session with the loose weights, as we call them, or the dumbbells and what have you. And that way then I can sort of, that's my lift heavy session, whereas the other one is more of a muscular exercise session, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that's how I started too, and I'm on free weights now, but I did start with bands, and also I did no cardio and continue to do no cardio. So I did not lose weight by sitting on a treadmill for hours at a time. I do sprints. I did 5 sprints today, and that's all I do, sprints and lifting weights.
That is something that I'm definitely would like to start trying as well. I know I've spoke to Lauren. She does sprints sometimes, and she's quite good. She recommends it's something that we should do. And before I jump to Carl, can I just see, Richard, what's the t-shirt? Can I see the t-shirt properly? It's Carnivore thing you wouldn't understand. Excellent. I like that. Did you get that made especially?
No. I found it on eBay, believe it or not. Yeah, there's if you go on to where I've got to think about having these t-shirts. I want to express now that I'm not anti-vegan or anything at all like that. Each to their own. But if you do go onto eBay and put in anti-vegan in the search bar, you get some wonderful t-shirts come back, type of thing. So I have a collection of these things now, like, you know. So but just a thing that you said and Larry said about sprints, it's one of the real frustrations I have. I understand the benefits, the physiological benefits of sprints. One thing you can do, when people say sprints, if you're restricted like I am with joints and things, with any joint issues, you could kind of rule out sprints until I watched a video, and I can't remember who it was I was watching, and the doctor on there said, hang on, sprints aren't putting your sneakers on and then running as fast as you can, then walking. They are sprints. He said, but you can do sprints on a rowing machine. You can do sprints on a cross trainer. You can do sprints on elliptical. It's just about basically going nice and steady, and then go like the clappers and hell's bells and as hard as you can for your 1 minute, your 2 minutes, wherever it may be, and then go back to lower your heart rate back down. So anybody watching or listening to this, you know, and if you're concerned about sprinting is running, it's not just that. It is that, and there's great benefits from physically actually running sprinting, but you can do sprints on a lot of things which don't put joint pressure on your joints, or there's no impact pressure on your joints.
That's what I have to do because I'm injured. I'm a disabled veteran. I've got injuries from the military in my ankle and my knee. So I sprint 1 day a week on a track, and I sprint 3 days a week on an elliptical machine.
Yeah.
And I get a different feel out of both, but both are when I'm totally out of breath and I check my heart rate and it's 170 or 172. I know I'm at my limit. And I get it back down to 145 and then do it again.
Yeah. So, I mean, Larry, I'm physically, cardiologically, my heart and my current the way my body works at the moment are quite capable of doing sprints. I know I can do that, but it's not the sprinting that I'd like to do. I had a meeting with my consultant a few days ago and spoke about potential knee replacement surgery, and I don't know, it's like in the US, Larry, but in the UK they hold you off as much as they possibly can. It's more about, okay, let's manage the pain first, and then when you get to about 65, 70, we'll think about it, unless it gets cripplingly painful, which trying to tell them it does. So when I said to him about knee surgery, I said, look, and he said, okay. And he said, well, you know, knee surgery is a possibility. I said, well, would I be able to run after? And he sort of said, no. And I went, oh. And he just said, well, don't get me wrong. He says, you'll lose a little bit of range of motion if you bend your knee behind you. He says, you'll lose a few degrees there. He said, but because your knee doesn't bend left to right, or when it's straight, it doesn't bend upwards in front of you, it's only behind you, you'll lose a little bit. And I said, so no running then? And he said, well, you could probably retrain your muscles to support your knees to jog. And he said, however, it's the risk of falling over is the issue. So if you fall over on your knee, he said, it's nothing like falling over on a natural knee. He said, you smack one of those, he said, you're in a world of trouble. And he said, you could fall over at any time. He said, however, if you're running, your risk of tripping and falling is far greater, and the impact will be greater because of your momentum. He said, and I said, so what you're saying is if I have both my knees replaced, I'll never run again? And he said, that's correct. Now, there might be people out there, athletes that have had replacements and hip replacement, and that say would disagree with that. I don't know. It's something I need to look into further. But I've got to be honest, I came out there feeling quite down. You know, thinking if I do have a knee replacement or both knees replaced, I'll never run again. So maybe my running days are over, if you like. And if I have to accept that, I have to accept that.
Yeah, mine are. I can't run distance anymore. I can only do that one day of sprints, and it kills me at the end. I'm done. So I get pain. Yeah.
We don't know necessarily. In a couple of years' time, sticking to this diet, you never know what's around the corner.
Never say never, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll come to Carl now. We waited a good 20 minutes or so to get.
Thanks for your patience, Carl.
Word in, and then we'll go after.
Richard, everything you say is top draw, mate, and it's well worth listening to.
That's very kind of you to say so, Carl. And I know I can say the compliment straight back to you, as I can to Larry as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my story's nowhere near as drastic as yourselves. I mean, I was morbidly 10 months ago. I was morbidly obese. I was pre-diabetic, as Wallace has said. I had blood pressure going, off the Richter scale. In my younger days, I did judo at a pretty decent level. And I spent the next 30 years turning into sumo. And I knew that something had to stop. So, and this journey that I've done over the last 10 months, I'm now down to my peak weight when I was 18 years old competing at judo. And I just can't believe in this period of time how I've done that. And I've done pretty much zero exercise other than walking my dog. And I have an English bulldog, so you can appreciate it's not massively long walks. And I do recently, the last few months, because of the energy level I have, I've been using a pull-up bar in the garage, but that's sort of not in a set routine. It's just when I feel like it, I'll do some pull-ups. And at first, I couldn't even pull my body weight up. So that's been progression. But other than that, I don't do any exercise at all. I used to do quite a lot of extreme things. In 2010, I did the London Marathon in a medieval suit of armor that was 35 kilos in weight. And 10 months ago, I would have thought that's never going to happen. I have the suit of armor in my hallway, and I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to try and beat my 9 hours and 47 minutes. So, and I'll tell you now, that was 9 hours and 44 minutes of agony. But we did raise a lot of money for the British Heart Foundation. So at the time, I thought I might need them by the end of it. So, you got to keep your options open.
Yeah, excellent. Is the way you've eaten or what you've eaten evolved or changed in any way since when you first started?
Yeah, when I first started, I thought I was on full carnivore, but I was eating quite a lot of cheese as well as creams and things like that. And it's only when seeing people like Larry and and other YouTubers that are very popular, and you suddenly work out actually I could do without that. I did get pretty much down to meat, animal products, and the only animal products really was eggs that I was having, bacon, and so it was the BE, whatever it is that everyone talks about. Found that good, and then like yourself, Paul, in January I had a crack at the Lion diet. Really liked it. I found it more of a struggle than I thought it would, but I got through it, did it, and I'm now more what I call the sea lion diet. So it's pretty much the lion diet, but I also have herring and mackerel with it when I fancy it as well. And I tend to use the herring or the mackerel as a snack in the evening if I'm feeling a bit peckish. I don't do fasting as such, but I find, without even thinking about it, I might not eat for 24 to 36 hours without ever feeling hungry. Yep. So it's a sort of it's a inappropriate fast rather than a planned fast.
Yeah. I've done a few fasts, not that many, but I'm a bit like Richard. The first day seems to be like, it feels like I haven't eaten for weeks. The stomach's growling, I'm feeling sick. And then, like, if you do get to the second day, it is amazing how much better you feel. Like, it feels like you don't even need anything to eat. I think
the psychological part.
Yeah, it is. Well, for me, a lot of this is psychological, and it's a lot of it, which is what I struggle with. I'll come to the comments in a minute. If you've got any questions you want to ask any of us, I'm just going to have a look at them in a minute. But I'll just give you a quick overview of myself. So I started Carnivore Diet in August, so I'm the newest Carnivore member in here. And I haven't been anywhere near as good as these guys. I've messed up quite a lot. Did well, I think, from August up until just before Christmas, around the 20th of December. And then I caved in at Christmas time. I've mentioned this in previous videos as well. So if you're sick of hearing this, I do apologize. But yeah, I messed up. I was eating chocolate biscuits and that at work. I was even having some red wine at home on some occasions on an evening and that. And since December, I've never really fully getting back on track. I've had like a few weeks here and there, like feeling really determined. Now I know people will say maybe your why isn't big enough. I don't think that is my issue. I know the benefits. I know exactly what I should be doing. But it's psychologically, it's all the social side of things I do struggle with. At work, even at home, just any kind of it's just in my head a lot, like I think, I can't do this, like I can't see myself being able to do it long term, and I have fell off many times. But I think like what somebody mentioned to us before, like once you've experienced carnivore, it's hard just to ignore it. You keep wanting to go back, you keep trying, and I do believe I will get there, but I'm still not fully there. I think I've been clean now for about 11-12 days, something like that, so it hasn't been that long. But I mean, considering I haven't done it very well, I've still felt a lot of benefits. I've felt, I did originally lose quite a lot of weight. I have put a little bit back on, but I sleep better. Like these last few days have been like back on it. I'm sleeping better as well. I mean, I don't always sleep for a long period of time. Obviously, I've got little kids in the house, so they can wake us up, and I've got it can be quite a stressful job that I've got. So sometimes I'm thinking about that, which affects me sleep. But overall, like I've slept better. I've got my skin's improved. My little joint pains that I used to get, they don't really come back unless I've had face plant into a packet of biscuits, something like that. And that's the thing with me. I can't, like, before carnivore, I would I could have a couple of biscuits, drink a couple of biscuits, and that would be enough till the next time I ate something. Like I'm not blaming carnivore here, by the way, but since I've been on carnivore, if I do come off the wagon, I come off the wagon in quite a big scale. I don't just have a couple of biscuits anymore. I'll have more than I used to have. So it's as if I'm making up for lost time or something. I don't know. I used to do the same when I was a smoker. If I quit smoking for a certain length of time, when I'd start again, I'd be smoking way more than I used to the first time. So I don't know if that's just something in me that I need to work on. Maybe you've got some suggestions or somebody in the chat can tell us that I'm not the only one, because I'm sitting here with 3 excellent carnivores. But before we discuss anything else, I will just quickly go. I'd like to go through people who've took the time to come in. So we'll see who's joined us tonight. Some of these comments are like 20 minutes ago, so forgive us about that. So that's Metabolic Paramedic. I know this guy, Al, good fella, very knowledgeable with health-related things. So he's a good lad. And we've got the Fitness Hutch in here. Evening, guys. I don't believe I've met you yet, but welcome to the chat. Carnivore Nation, we know who that is. He's in here with us. D. Lee, hello. Andrew Bevan, welcome to the chat. We've got the usual Richard Williams.
Yeah, Copper Hill, Tennessee.
Everywhere you go, yeah.
He's always on.
He is. Christina
from Kentucky.
Yeah, and we've got George, who we all know George as well in here. Good evening, team. Got to go out. I'll catch you on playback here. So when you come back, George, thanks for stopping in. I hope you are having a good evening. Let's have a look here. Oh, I recognize this. So I am tired of saying I'm back on day one. Had a carb night last night after writing my car off. Oh God,
Oh,
yes,
dear.
that can be little stressful situations like that can easily knock people back to day one. I've heard Sarah, the imperfect carnivore, talk about how, like, when her mother was very ill, or like to the point where she was in hospital dying, the last thing on her mind was carnivore. She couldn't care less what she ate. She ate anything just to get through the day. So I think that is a part of life some of us will have to face. You know, like we're not always going to be 100% perfect, but some people might be able to. Do you want to discuss anything regarding, like, you know, falling off the wagon, getting back on it and staying determined, anything like that? Has anybody got any advice?
The first thing I was going to say, and the thing about this particular lifestyle over any other diet I've tried, there are no carnivore police. So if you go off the wagon, it's not a disaster. Just accept it. And like your man said earlier, he started again on day one and away you go. I even did a jokey thing about saying the carnivore diet is actually a one-day diet. And all you do is you go to sleep and you start again the next day. And if you put that mental, you take all the pressure away, because you do it for one day, you get to the end of the day, you wake up and you do it again that day. That's all you have to look at. There's no thinking, oh, I'm missing out on this and I'm missing out on that, because you're putting the negative in your thought pattern when really there's so much positivity that comes from this lifestyle.
Yeah, I as you know, Paul, my approach is I get the same cravings. I get the same urges to be able to go and go back to the diet I used to had. What keeps me on the road is that I was involved in martial arts since I was 8-9 years of age, right up into my early 30s, mid 30s, very, very committed to it and disciplined. And there's a lot of discipline I learned throughout that. So what keeps me on the straight and narrow is the years of discipline that I practiced. And that discipline it's such a polished discipline you can apply to any part. I know Carl said about his judo, which is where I started when I was about 6 years of age. I was there and got into a kung fu a couple of years later. But there's a huge discipline there, and it's something that you adopt and apply to life. So you're no different, Paul, to any of us. But we still get that, and I know I've heard Carl say and Larry say, and yourself quite a few times, is that it's an addiction. It's a carbohydrate addiction or a sugar addiction. Is when people say I've got a sweet tooth, that's a nice way of saying that you're addicted to carbohydrates, and we all probably still are to some point. It's just that once you get the benefits of the low carb keto carnivore, like when you start to feel the benefits you can do, I think the motivation comes back in then. Oh, this is working, this is well. So for me, I have the same things, Paul. I have the same cravings. When you go through stressful times, you turn to something that you want a quick fix or something like that. And it's for me, it's the strict discipline. I put a gun to my own head, so go on and I dare you. Take a bite of that and I'll blow your brains out. That's how I am. It works for me. Like I say, it's not for everybody else, but it works for me. So you're not on your own, Paul.
It's interesting, Richard, you say it's an addiction, because if you look at 99% of addictive, they're all plant-based, from marijuana, cocaine, heroin, opium. Then you've got alcohol, you've got tobacco, you've got all these things, and sugar. And sugar is the addiction that we're really talking about. And if you can break that addiction, so what if you slip up? Get back on it, go again. There's there's everything to gain, nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
It's good. You don't hear anybody being addicted to eating beef, do you? Really?
No, never. Doesn't
I'm
happen.
Close. I'm close to that.
I would tell you. I would add to this though. There are no carnivore police. You do get back up on the horse, but if you don't want to live Groundhog Day over and over and over, You must take corrective action. And in the Army, we have something called an AAR, after action review. So when you do a mission, you do an AAR where we talk about 3 things that went well, 3 things that didn't do well. You do some reflective analysis, and what are we going to do different next time so it doesn't happen? So I recommend, if you fell off, look at what was going on in your life. Kind of just do a reflection. Hey, what was happening? Was I stressed? What was causing the stress? How did I behave to stress? How could I plan to prevent this from happening next time? And just add a little analysis to that. Then get back on your horse. Definitely the next day, get on your horse. There's nothing stopping you. But don't lose this opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to hone your skill as a carnivore. So, I'm an Army guy. I have pretty good discipline. My slip-ups have been keto slip-ups. So that's not terrible. No sugar, nothing like that. I did have some alcohol a couple times. When I made, my son is ketovore-ish, so he does whole foods. So I make foods for him, and I taste them just to make sure I'm cooking them right. But sometimes I taste so good, I eat a little, right? So, but that's listen, you can't argue with my receipts, right? My receipts are in, and your receipts are in too. And another thing, Paul, you're young. You got to be in your 30s, right? Is that right? We said
I'm 47 in May. So
47. Yeah. You look so young. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you're on the cusp of hitting the downhill slope on the standard American diet or standard Western diet. You are. But if you're on a carnivore diet, you're on the upswing. I'm still on the upswing. I mean, I feel like I could go out and play rugby tomorrow if I could run again. I really do. I feel like I could just compete, with my old self. And you just have to set your why. That's the other thing. So the 2 things: 1, do some self-reflections, and analyze what caused the problem. And I guarantee there were things there. You can pinpoint them. Maybe you put yourself in a situation where someone pressured you into eating and you weren't prepared. You didn't eat before you went out to a social event, whatever it was. Just look at it and think about things you could do to, I call it failing with a purpose. You failed. Great. Now let's get some purpose behind it, and let's go and get on that horse, like Carl said, and ride. But the other thing is, we just need to rededicate your why. You need a strong why, right? And losing weight is not enough. Like just losing 13 pounds for the spring break at the beach isn't good enough. That's not a big enough why. It's got to be pretty big, and your why will probably change. Mine's continuing to change. Mine got so big that I started a YouTube channel. That's how big my why got. My why was just for me. Now it's to spread the news. Same with Carl. So anyway, I think that's something you have to do. If you don't know what your why is, I have a planning guide on my website, carnivoresoldier.com. You can check out. It's a PDF. It'll help you set up your why. So, I mean, it's definitely super important to have that. And mine is not, I'll tell you what mine is. Mine's, I don't fear cancer anymore. I used to fear dying of cancer a lot. Every time I went in for a doctor's appointment, I thought, this is the one where they're going to tell me I got some kind of cancer going on, right, with my blood. And then the other was Alzheimer's. My mom died at 68, so 10 years older than I am now. And her last 10 years was a horrible life. And I don't want to have Alzheimer's, and I don't want to fear diseases like that. And I don't now.
Yeah.
So that's my why. And I want to be around for my son, who's 14. So.
Right.
Larry, what was that? What was that thing you said? AAR?
AAR, after action review. So
Wonderful.
we have an action. We meet the enemy. We do whatever our mission is. After the mission, we have an AAR, and we always talk about 3 things that went well that we want to make sure we do next time. Right? Those worked great. Then we talk about 3 things that didn't work that we need to retool. Right?
I like that, Larry. I like that.
So whenever you fail, make it a success. Turn it around. Don't just get on the horse. Get on the horse with a plan so you don't fall off next time, or try to.
Sounds good. I like that.
Yeah, some good advice. Go over and check out. Is it carnivoresoldier.com? Did you see you've got all that? Yeah. If anybody hasn't checked that out, then definitely go over and check it out. I want to just quickly pop back to the chat here. Nice comment here from D Sunye, I believe it's pronounced. Finally, a group of Brits I can relate to. I know we've got Larry, the Texan here, but he's one of us as well. So yeah, definitely.
Honorary Brit.
I'm a rebel.
Honorary Brit.
You want to mention the WhatsApp group, Paul? Because obviously there's a number of Brits on the WhatsApp group that he might enjoy joining.
There is. I actually don't. I've stopped promoting the WhatsApp group. I'll tell you why. Just because I don't have the time. Like since I started that up when I was on paternity leave, and then I had annual leave, so I got it off the ground. It got up to like over 100 and something people, and then I've just literally I haven't been able to run it. So I haven't promoted it if you wanted to join, there is links in some of my older videos. You're still welcome to join. We still get the odd person coming in there, but even that, because I think any community, if it hasn't got somebody running it properly, it will just dwindle out. And I haven't given it its deserved time. And I know Larry knows all about that with his Facebook group. You need to keep on top of it, don't you?
You do. Yep.
I think so. Oh no, that was you mentioning it there, yeah. But yeah, it is there. It is in some of the. I think not so long ago, some of my videos have the link to the WhatsApp group in them if you did want to join. But be prepared. Like I say, there's not a lot happening in there at the moment. Just go through some more of these. BK Belgian Carnivore. Hiya, welcome to the live stream.
Hey, we have a question at I want to say 2:43 my time. So is it 7:43, 8:43 your time? From Neil Boxer 00.
Hang on a second. That's right further down.
Starts off saying, I started carnivore 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay. If you could bring it up just to answer that question, it looks like you didn't confuse it.
We're past. I've got so many. What time?
I know.
7:43, and it's Neil Boxer 00.
Ah, yeah. There we go. I started carnivore 2 weeks ago. I've lost 18 pounds. Can I eat lean meats instead of adding fat so my body taps into my fat reserve as I have 50 pounds more to lose? Cheers, lads. Go on, Larry. Give them some advice.
Yeah, so you don't want to do that. I know it's counterintuitive, but you do need to eat fatty meats, because what happens is your body will convert those lean meats into sugars. I forget they call it glyconeogenesis, I think. And basically, if you have too much lean meat in your diet, your body will actually hold on to your fats and you'll burn more sugars. So if you and what you need to do is get completely fat adapted, which takes more than 2 weeks. You need to actually eat fatty meats. And I'm talking about really fatty meats, 70-30, right? I'm talking about minced meat, what you guys call, and bacon and eggs with egg yolk. You definitely need that. And then you need to do that for 60 to 90 days. Then you can look at doing something like this. But really, this is a fasting mimicking diet. So by eating a high fat, normal protein diet, not a high protein diet, the same amount of protein you eat in a standard diet, by doing that, your body believes it's fasting because you have no carbohydrates and it goes into a fasting mode. And you get all the benefits from fasting without actually being hungry. So it's this diet that I lost all this weight and put all this muscle on and never once was hungry where I did not eat. Don't know about you guys, but that's fantastic. That's
100% about what Larry's saying. And I found on my journey, I craved fat more than I did the meat. And the more fat I ate, and it made no sense whatsoever, the more fat I ate, the quicker I lost body fat.
And you're satiated. If you don't eat the fat, you will not be satiated. You'll be hungry all the time. That's not good.
Yeah.
You want to be satiated.
So as daft as it sounds, stick with the high fat.
Yeah.
Meat.
Trust the process.
Yeah, all the carnivore doctors will say exactly the same thing. There is a statement here that I would like to address as well. I fell off the wagon recently, and I won't forget how hard the anxiety and Raynaud's come back. So lesson learned. Now, I've never suffered from Raynaud's, so I can't really speak on behalf of that. But one thing I did notice when I had a high sugar day, when I totally came off it, when I went to bed, it feels like my heart's beating differently, like less efficiently. And I would be thinking I'd be creating all these potential things, scenarios, this email I got from work and how I would respond. Like I was thinking about things that just wouldn't make any sense. There was no reason to be thinking of them. And it just came into my head, like that is probably what anxiety is. That's probably what I'm doing. And I've experienced that for years and years without even realizing that's what anxiety is. I just thought I had a bit of a hyperactive mind. But that's because what made us realize that what it must be anxiety is because when I am strict with the carnivore diet, that doesn't happen. My heart feels like it's beating better. I go to sleep better. I don't make up all these weird things that could potentially happen in my future. So it must be something to do with what we're eating, the nutrition that prevents the anxiety from happening. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think things like stress, anxiety, depression, and all those awful things that people suffer from or afflicted from it. I think it's come more to the forefront over the last probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years, but certainly COVID brought sort of put a magnifying glass over those conditions as well. I've had to change my my approach, my opinion of anxiety and nerval issues and things like that, purely and simply because I used to be a guy that was just say, pull your socks up, what's the matter with you? That was my approach to anybody that just, suggested any kind of stress or anxiety or I feel nervous, get on with it. However, I went through some difficult times back in 2015, a divorce and things like that. Just carried on plowing through it and got on with things. And it's only we're looking back in reflection now. I realise that and understanding a little bit more about anxiety and depression, things like I realised, the anxiety moments and times that I went through, and I suffer with it myself without realising it, type of thing. So I'm more empathetic, and to a point sympathetic with people who suffer with anxiety and things, and as a result of that, end up turning to food as a comfort in some capacity. And I got no disrespect for those people whatsoever, type of thing. So I do understand that kind of thing more now.
Yeah, definitely. Farmer's wife, farming life. Hello, sorry I'm late. That's fine. Welcome,
Lauren.
Lovely, absolutely lovely girl, Lauren. She has got that.
Hi, Lauren.
She's got a great channel, Farmer's Wife Farming Life. Check it out. She's done some really good videos quite recently.
I'd like to jump in and point out that none of us are doctors here, and this is not medical advice.
No,
we're just giving our experience.
Yeah. I suppose that's a disclaimer, really, that we should.
Carl's going to be a doctor pretty soon, but none of us are here.
Going for the PhD,
Yeah, definitely. Richard, I know you've recently been abroad. You just come back from somewhere. What was it like trying to stick to carnivore over there? Was there any challenges? You can see.
They're very meat based over there. I went over to do some work. Someone invited me to go over there and call upon my skills from my business many years ago.
We're talking about Dubai here, aren't we? We're talking about Dubai.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's falconry is a popular thing in Dubai. One from a pest control point of view, but there's also great statuses and things like that from the falconers out there. They have a little bit of a different approach to the British falconer. However, it's a very substantial privilege out there with certain birds and certain training and certain things, and they respect the things. So I get invited over there to go and do some training for some falconers. So I spent a few weeks over there training young lads, young ladies to be falconers. So you're supposed to go for a couple of 3 weeks, but the course turned out to be so popular that I was over there for about 8-9 weeks altogether. So it was all paid for. They fly me out and fly me back and things like that. So put me in beautiful accommodation, and then they even had my own chef. Type of thing. So it was very, very luxurious. It's a different. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Dubai. Have you ever been out there, Carl, at all, or Larry? Have you been to Dubai at all?
Yeah, I've been to Dubai on business. I've been there a few times on business.
It's
I actually moved 7,500 tons of sand from the UK to Dubai. Now work that one out.
Right.
From the UK
Okay.
to Dubai.
I moved 7,500 tons of British sand. Well, what it was a Saudi prince wanted to build an all-weather racetrack, and their sand is blitzed by the sun, where British sand is more dense, so they wanted to use it as the base. But it was quite cool saying that I've actually moved sand to Dubai. So.
Yeah, it's a different. They have a different approach because of the. How can I put this? Because of the abundance of money, wealth, finance. They have a totally different approach to life, which. Is nice to dip your toe in, nice to go out there for a few weeks and see and experience that. But they have just a totally different approach to the thing, and I respect that. I've got no problems, type of thing. So when they call me up and say, "Could you fly out and come and train some falconers?" to fly falcons for pest control and things like that. We'll fly you out. You can have your own apartment. You will have a chef for you and things like that. So they don't have to ask me twice. So off I go, type of thing, like, you know. So I couldn't live out there. Mind you, I say that when I got off the plane yesterday and walked through those things and the cold hit me, I thought, holy crap. Type of thing. I thought, yes, I could live out there, type of thing, because it was bloody hot while I was over there. But that said, it's a pleasurable experience. So yes, Paul, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. And to answer your question, no, there wasn't an issue with me sticking to carnivore. I stayed true to my 4 days feasting, 3 days fasting. So I only had to worry about getting food 3 days a week. And as they offered a chef, it wasn't a problem. So I just sort of said, like, you know, if it had a mama, I will eat it. And that was it. So I left him with that. So I had all kinds of meats, and then some of the ones I couldn't even tell you what they were. So God knows what I was eating. But however, it was just a fatty meat-based diet, and they were happy to slobber it with butter because they have a bit of a different approach over there. It's that a lot of the things is effectively barbecued or grilled. Well, they were for me anyway. So I insisted on sort of slabs of butter. And so I must have got through it. They must have thought, what is this guy doing? Because I saw like trolley loads of butter being pushed up to the apartment type of thing. So either way, great time. No, it was easy to stick to the carnivore diet because they are very, very accommodating for me. And I love the people, love the being over there.
Excellent. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere I'll have to check out sometime. I would be amazed to know how Carl managed to get thousands and thousands of tons of sand through security in the airport.
I got visions of Carl walking down a runway with all these bags of sand on his shoulders.
Yeah, definitely.
Metabolic paramedic made a very valid point that during the World War they actually sent out sandbags filled with sand to Africa.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. What a fantastic thing.
We have a saying in America, I don't know, they might have it in Europe too, of someone being such a good salesman they can sell ice to an Eskimo. And that just came across my mind. You're selling sand to Arabs in Dubai. I mean, it's crazy, but it makes sense, right?
Colton Newcastle as well, Paul.
Yeah?
Selling coal to Newcastle.
Selling coal to Newcastle. Okay, your coal town? Coal mining town?
Yes, definitely. Nice. So I'm going to go through the chat quickly, but if there's anything like Larry, Carl, or Richard that you just want to talk about, I'm going to give you a bit of time. I know Carl mentioned something, so we'll go through that in a minute. I'll just have a little look. See, I do apologize. I know for a fact I've missed loads of comments out here. If I have missed you, I do apologize, and welcome to the channel. Do any of you use cheese on your diet? I still actually do have cheese now and again. I still need to have a bit of variety. I think I'm not terrible. I think generally I have bacon, egg, cheese. I have ground beef or mince here, and I have steaks, and that's pretty much it. I don't really have chicken. Occasionally I'll have a bit of pork, so I'm not like terrible. Don't get us wrong, but it's on the days when I fall off the wagon when I do mess up. But other than that, even when I'm messing up, I'm still like deluding myself. I'm like, well, I'm having nothing but meat. I'm having like carnivore food, but I'm still eating the shit. Like the shit is snacks. Do you know what I mean? So, that's does it to use any of you? I think you have all stopped eating cheese now, haven't you?
I was a cheese lover. Still am a cheese lover. However, it's something that I just dropped out of the diet. There was no conscious decision to say, right, that's it. No more cheese. I'm going carnivore. I'm a cheese lover. I used to eat loads of the stuff and everything else, but dairy seems to have faded away for me in the background. Again, never a conscious decision. When I was doing keto, I was having cheese and stuff like that. When I went over to carnivore, much less, more of a, if I'm feeling hungry, a little treat out the fridge. But I found the more satisfaction from very strong cheeses, which I'd never had before. Yeah, I would grab a bag of cheddar, a piece of cake, eat that. However, nibbling on that didn't take away anything. So I went over to some of the more powerful strike, the Blue, the Stiltons and stuff like that. And just a few little nibble off the end, mouse type nibbles was very satisfying for me. But that's faded off for me in the past. So I don't have cheese anymore, but it's not a conscious decision I made to say, right, that's it, no more cheese.
Yeah. Has any of you tried having? I know I've tried it once or twice, and it's not too bad. Have you tried putting butter in coffee?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I did the whole bulletproof thing a few years ago. Tried that and everything else. Surprising. It wasn't the taste I was expecting whether I was putting enough or too much in there, but I did it, and fine. But it's something I would rather put double cream in coffee than butter for fat content anyway.
Well, I've started occasionally where I put butter in hot water and then I may put double cream in with it and then drink that. And that's very refreshing, but I wouldn't go too much on the cream, but I'd have it. And that is actually interesting. And the other thing I can say is Costa give you real butter. Starbucks give you margarine. So when if I go to a Costa for a meeting or something, I will try and go to the Costa because they'll give me butter. You occasionally get the odd look, but it's a conversation piece with a potential client you're dealing with anyhow. So he sees you putting butter in your coffee. So
it's not a bad idea.
I would say I ate cheese today, so I do eat a little bit. But this piece of cheese I've had in my fridge for weeks. I just cut off a little slice and had a bite, and it's a really hard cheese. It's I forget what you call it, but it's a very hard cheese, right? And so I just cut a slice off, and I ate some today with a couple pepperoni slices. But again, I'm working out like a banshee. I'm lifting, and I also have these. I buy these for my son. These are cheese whiffs, and they're 100% cheese. They're just fried. They're like crackers. Ooh. And I put them in his lunch. But since they're around, I eat a couple of those every now and then too. So I am a year into it. Like I said, I've got the receipts. My body's reacting well, and I do eat a little cheese, but I do not snack all day on cheese. I will be clear. Yeah. I have cheese as a condiment occasionally. I think I've had a cheeseburger once in the last month. And the rest of the time just do burger without cheese. And like these whiffs I've had a couple times in the last month. And then the cheese, like I said, it's been in there for weeks. I usually cut it and put it in my son's lunch, but every now and then I'll go just grab a slice. I'd rather snack on butter, to be honest. Salted butter is I like. And if you're trying to cut out coffee, you can do the hot water thing, or you can actually get beef broth, bone broth. You get bone broth, heat it up in a cup, throw some butter, and I put smoked salt in there. You can put salt in there to help salt it up a little bit, and you get a little butter and salt and bone broth. That's a great coffee replacement if you're trying to quit.
Excellent. Right. So, Carl, you mentioned something before we started about maybe listing a couple of positives and a couple of negatives we've all experienced. Now, I know we can rattle about quite a lot of the positives, but negatives as well. Is there anything that you would like to discuss, Carl? A couple of positives, a couple of negatives that you've experienced?
Yeah, well, it was my wife's birthday yesterday, and we went for a Chinese to celebrate her birthday. And trying to order on a Chinese menu and stay on carnivore is very challenging. So ironically, I can see how vegans 10 years ago were getting frustrated when they went out for meals, and now pretty much half the menu is a vegan or vegetarian menu. So I feel that I'm hoping that the carnivore drive will give more meat options or side of it on there. So I do find the negative me is if you go out eating socially, it can be very, very tricky. And the answers before anyone wants to know is I had a number of starters that were pure meat.
All right. Nice. Is there any other negatives you've experienced? Have you experienced any negatives in terms of how people's responded to you?
Yep. Interesting enough, when I was morbidly obese, everyone, because I did stand-up comedy as well, because I was always a laughy, jokey guy, that everyone loved me and all that side of it. The minute I suddenly start losing weight and getting myself fit and healthy again, how suddenly I've got 20,000 doctors all worried about my health because they didn't give a monkeys when I was obese. So that's one of the things. And people still say to me, but how can this be good? You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to do this. And I'm like, my resting heart rate is better than when I was a teenager. But they just don't get it. And I, like all of us, we're all similar ages. We've been brought up with this low-fat, healthy eating side of it that everyone is so programmed. And I try not preach to people, and I have no issues with vegan people. And I know Lauren will laugh here. I'll eat one, but I've got no problem with regards to well, I might make bone broth because there's not much meat on them. Joke. That's a joke, everybody. All right, no, but I do find eating clean is important, and sometimes that's tricky when you're eating out because you don't know what the chefs are putting into the food. They might say it's one thing, but it could be processed, etc. So I do find that tricky. And the other thing is my wife isn't carnivore. She eats fairly healthy, but she's not carnivore, and she's still very much 3 meals a day, and she sometimes can't compute that I'm not hungry. And I love her to bits, but part of the reason I was probably as big as I was is she's a bit of a feeder. So I do find that makes it awkward sometimes when I'm not interested in eating. She wants to eat, and that kind of makes it awkward in a relationship when you're not necessarily on the same lifestyle of diet. So they're probably the 3 main negatives I come across.
Yeah, fair enough. Larry, any negatives you've experienced? You pretty much say everything seems to be positive with you. I mean,
oh no, I get all. So I get all the same things. Like you said, everyone is all of a sudden worried about my health because I'm eating meat. When they find out, and being a single guy, going on dates in the past, I've gone on dates, and I remember one date I went with this girl who loves to bake, and she goes, "Well, surely if I made a pie, you would eat some." I said, "No, absolutely not. I would not eat your pie." I said, "I don't care if my grandma came back from the dead and made me a pie. I would not eat her pie. This is not something I'm going to do because that's not in my DNA anymore. I don't do that. That's not. It's sugar. It's poison. I just don't. I said, you can eat it. You can feed it to everyone you care about. I'm not going to eat it." And that was the end of that. Never dated her. And so, but I mean, so it's, there's 3 hills that people will defend to the death. And they're politics, religion, and diet. And you can't argue anyone into any position on those 3 hills. They have to want to change. They have to come to a realization that, hey, being a left-wing liberal isn't working out. Maybe I should look at other options, right? Or whatever it is. Or maybe just eating this sugar all the time isn't really helping me. Maybe I need to look at something. That's what we all did. We all got to that point. We did all individually. And here we are all together in this nexus where we've all done it, and we're like, hey, that was the answer, right? So, you're not going to argue anyone into this. So I would just say that, when people want to argue, I just wish them luck and kind of vaya con Dios, my friend. Go do your thing. I'm going to be on mine. You're not going to change my ideas. I'm not trying to change yours. I'm just going to eat how I know it is. It's supposed to be. Now, if someone wants support and they want a cheerleader and they want someone to ask questions of, I'm here. I'm here for them any day. Yeah. But if they want to debate whether eating fruit is healthy, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to debate that because I know it's not. And and I'm not going to change your mind. You eat your honey, you eat your fruit, Paul Saladino, whatever, do your thing. That's not for me. I'm not going to try to change your mind. Yeah,
no, fair enough. That's a good point. Do you, have you experienced anything, Richard? I know, it's one of them things like, some people, I've had it myself personally at work, saying like, you're going to die of a heart attack. You're going to, it's just going to be really bad for you. You're going to clog your arteries, all that sort of stuff. Do you experience anything like that? Or?
I do, but on a daily basis. From a negative point of view, I made a conscious, when I decided to change and it was a lifestyle change. One of the conscious things I decided about that, it was to remove all the negatives in my life, regardless of how close they were to me. So those got thrown away, dumped, gone. So that was an important decision for me to make. So I'll consciously try and keep negatives out as much as I possibly can. The negative from a diet point of view, same as Larry, same as Carl, and specifically when Carl spoke just about, when I was 24 stone, 320 plus pounds. Nobody came up to me, and none of my friends and family came up to me and said, look, what about dialing it back? What about your heart or anything at all like that? The moment I decided, right, okay, I'm going to get myself healthy, I cracked on. As soon as I did that, closest people to me, friends and family went, oh, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I haven't eaten any fiber. I haven't eaten any carbohydrates for well over 12 months from there. And I still have family members say to me, yeah, well, you got to have some fiber. It'll kill you. And look, I'm standing in front of you, less than half the person I used to be, or for my medications. Yet you're telling me bad for me. But that said, the more I've looked into the dogma of high fat and the people's misunderstanding of saturated fats and things like that, the more I've researched everything else, I understand why people do it, because I still do things subconsciously to keep away from fat. What I mean by that is, and this might sound a bit strange, I fry 90% of my food in a frying pan, and I still, even though I use beef tallow, lard, or bacon dripping when I'm cooking, let's say a fried egg, even the other night when the egg was finished cooking, I put my spatula into the frying pan, and I still took it to the side and tipped the fat off.
Yeah.
And just out of pure, that's what I was taught for 20, 30, 40 years. And when I do little things like I stop and think to myself, I'm going to pour all that over my steak anyway. So I eat every last drip of fat out the pan and everything else from there. So I've had to sort of change a little bit. I do understand why people say that, because they're living with dogma from other people's thoughts and other people's things, what you get taught and what you get passed down by your mother and things when you're schooling and all that kind of thing. There is all about stay away from saturated fats. So I don't get as offended at, or look at people as being as stupid as they sound when I'm proving to them that what I'm doing has made me healthy. So before I used to say to you, can you not see this? What's the matter with you? How can you possibly say what I'm doing is bad? So now I sort of look at them and just think, dick. You know, or sorry, uneducated dickhead. You know, that's it. But I've took the time to educate myself, and I'm very proud of what I've achieved based upon how I've educated myself.
Richard. We are all our own living experiment.
Absolutely, absolutely,
you
yeah.
Know,
we're
we are producing our own evidence for it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Larry says, you can present this to them. Here's my receipts. You can present it to them. Do I look healthy? You look fantastic. And what are you eating? As much fat as I can possibly get my hands on. If it had a face, if it had a face or a mother, I eat it. And I don't eat any fruits or vegetables, carbohydrates, sugars, or anything else. And they go, well, you know, that's going to kill you.
Well, this is the importance of having these channels and having talks like this with us, is because individually we're all N = 1. We're our own experiment. But now we're 4 data points on the same chart, right? And when you start adding more and more data points, then you have that points to a theory, right? Which we have. A theory is carnivore is healthy. And then until someone busts that theory, that's the one I'm rolling with. And all the data is correlating to that. It's correlating to carnivore is healthy. And I can look at you, I can look at Dr. Baker, I can look at everyone on my Facebook page. Anyone that's actually applying it is getting the same results.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, Lara. I haven't seen any negative people that have committed to it and they give it a good go. I've never seen anybody say, unless they're trying to get a bit of a clickbaity thumbnail up on YouTube. I've never seen anybody say, that's it, I'm done with it. It didn't work for, you know, people who try it for a couple of weeks and don't do any, they just throw themselves at it and they get keto flu and all that kind of stuff. Oh no, it's not working for me. I don't go to the toilet enough. You know, you feel like saying, dude, just stick with it, just a little bit long, and I promise you it'll come true. So I'm always positive in the fact that I've never seen a negative result of somebody committing to low carb keto carnivore diet. And obviously there's going to be exceptions to that, people who, you know, right up the one end of the scale with metabolic issues and problems. I do understand that and everything else, but it's just a positive thing. It's a positive community. Speaking to people like you guys, the comments that are coming through, it's all motivating. It's what keeps me going, and more importantly, will keep me there for good. I should never eat a chocolate biscuit, Paul. All right. I'm teasing, Paul. Don't worry about that. No, I shall continue with this because it's satisfying at all levels.
See, there's a misunderstanding or misinformation about cholesterol, and I've done a couple of short films that have been quite popular, where I've actually used my study in the PhD and looked into the cholesterol and what the true facts are and what's been spun out. And you also got to look at some of the research, and you got to look beyond the research. Who is sponsoring the research? where's the conflict of interest in the old research? But when you start re-looking at some of the research, like the Framlingham project that was very famous over in America, and they went on, and in the end, 30 years down the line, they concluded actually there is no risk of heart attacks from high cholesterol, and actually there was actually a drop in it. But before, the spin-off was all to boast that. So, as I say, I'm not trying to self-promote, but look at some of the little clips I've done. They're only 5-minute ones, but they're all very factually checked and verified. And you'll be surprised how the information has gone out over the years that, people like myself and other people are now unraveling and starting to produce, factual information, or re-looking at the facts and then coming up with the correct interpretation. And I'm not a tinfoil wearing person. It doesn't suit my look. So
it's like people always said, follow the science, and you do, and it leads you to the money. Unfortunately, that's the fact.
I mean, we could talk a long time about this sort of thing, especially misinformation. I mean, one of the things I find confusing is, like this Bill Gates talking about how Beyond Burgers are better for you than meat, and M&Ms are better for you than meat, and things like that. And if you look at him as well, he doesn't look like he's in good shape. So is he like trying to hide us from the real truth, or does he actually believe his own words? I mean, it's got me baffled, that one, because if he believes what he's actually saying, then considering he's an intelligent man, in quotation marks, then it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that is, we could have a live stream talking about misinformation.
I think so. I think one of probably the most frustrating thing for me is when if I go to my GP, my doctor, and I'll sit down with them and speak about cholesterol and things like that, and it scares me how deeply uneducated on the latest data, latest results, latest studies, latest information they are. And I mean that no disrespect, they can only speak to what they know, type of thing. But I can sit down with my doctor or one of the other doctors and I can say to them, as for instance, discuss cholesterol with them, and they just say, I don't know what you're talking about. They just look at me as if to say, well, and I say to them, at what point will I be able to come here and ask for a blood test and ask you to separate up LDL for me so we can go into LDL, LDLB, and things like that, because we now know that, just looking at cholesterol like X or just at LDL like X isn't really what, it doesn't tell us much, and it certainly doesn't determine any medications. So could you tell me what point can do that? And they just look at me blank faced. And these are people, and I please don't think that I don't think these people don't care, because I know they do, that they're good people and they care. But I'm just surprised how little education or little enthusiasm, because it hasn't taken me long. Carl's doing his PhD in it from there. I immerse myself in it to educate myself, because that's the way I do things. But it's quite scary, that you can walk in there and walk out with a couple of bottles of pills and there not be any need for you to do that. And that worries me greatly.
Yeah, it's not that they're uneducated, it's that they're miseducated, and by design, by the pharmaceutical companies who write the curriculum. So the pharmaceutical companies write the curriculum. They have X condition, you give them B pill or A pill.
Yeah,
and that's what they learn. So they're just miseducated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well, it's classic, like the statins. The statistics they produce for statins about actual risk and potential risk, and they made 37% from a difference of 1%.
Yeah,
it's criminal what they've got away with.
That's the relative risk versus absolute risk, and the relative risk.
Yeah, that's it, Larry. Yeah, absolutely.
The way I like to look at it is, if you buy one lottery ticket, you have 1 in 14 million chance of winning. And then if you buy 2 lottery tickets, now you have 2 in 14 million. But relative risk, you've doubled your chances to win. So now, does anyone think that buying 2 lottery tickets really doubles your chances of winning? No, that's the absolute. That's the absolute. The absolute are still 2 in 14 million, or 14 million. You're not going to win. So if you fear getting hit by lightning twice, then go buy a ticket, because that's about the same odds. Relative risk is bunk, and that's exactly what they use to sell statins. So whenever a doctor tries to push a statin on you, just ask them, what is the relative risk versus the absolute risk on this statin?
Yeah.
And when the other thing is they show the relative risk on effectiveness, and on the side effects, the negative effects, they show the absolute risk. So they try to minimize the absolute risk and highlight the relative risk. And they're both, they know they both need to be the same. So there's actually a web page that Dr. Zoe Harcum has, the number needed to treat, the NNT web page. And you've probably already looked at this, Carl, since you're doing your
yeah.
NNT numbers for fantastic, and that's to help doctors figure it out, not us, because doctors don't know this. So they set it up by doctors for doctors. Hey, look at that little pooch. What's your dog's name, Richard?
Murph.
Hey, Murph. Cute dog. I like him.
He's one of my workers.
Nice.
Yeah, cute.
Can I throw a swerve ball in here, because I saw I think it was Dr. Ken Berry talking to one of the famous YouTube dentists, and since I saw this, I've stopped using toothpaste, and I can't believe how much better not only my teeth but my mouth health is. And I just wanted to know, was I alone on this, or if that's something that you guys can all talk about?
What do? You just brush it with water then?
Just with water. I had it was interesting. I had a bit of a black part of the tooth, and I thought, oh damn, I've got a dying tooth. And I watched this thing with Dr. Ken Barron. I can't remember the dentist's name, an American chap, but really, really good. He's got his own YouTube channel. And I looked into it more, and I literally stopped using fluoride toothpaste and basically used water in my toothbrush, and cannot believe the difference in, firstly, the color of my teeth. The yellowness is all gone. They're absolutely perfect. My breath is absolutely fine. I don't get a furry tongue. I don't get bleeding gums, anything like that. So I don't know if it's the carnivore or what, but I just can't believe. And even the black tooth has gone back to white.
It's Carnivore, and it's Dr. Kevin Stock, DDS.
That's the guy.
He's a dental surgeon, and he only uses water, and that's what I use now. I just use water. Now I do have toothpaste that I will use maybe once a month just to freshen up if I feel like I'm just going to freshen my, and so I'm not going to say I never use toothpaste, but I'd say 99.9% of the time I don't. Just water. And I have a sonic brush, electric brush.
Never even heard of that. I'm gonna have to give that a go, I think.
Well, your mouth has a biome just like your gut does. And every time you put fluoride in there and all these chlorides and everything, you're destroying your biome daily. And you need to let it just be I mean, think of ancestral man. Ancestral man did not brush their teeth with some kind of paste made out of all kinds of weird chemicals.
Yeah.
You don't need to put that in your mouth.
Yeah.
According to this dental surgeon, and he doesn't.
I don't. It makes sense, doesn't it? It's like when you hear people talking about the carnivore diet, when you're first learning about it, you start thinking, Christ, it actually makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we've gone well past the hour mark. I just want to quickly look at that. I've seen this comment, and this is another downside, I think, for me. I love the carnivore diet, but it's hard that no one believes me and how good I feel. So I need these YouTube channels to help me keep on track. That's so true. Even with like very close family members, my mum and dad, I know for a fact they would benefit massively if they could do it. And I can't exactly preach because I'm not like, I'm not the best carnivore in the world, but there's just certain things. My mum suffers with arthritis, my dad takes statins for cholesterol, and I just wish they could see and understand, but they just can't seem to get it. They give us a funny look every time I mention it. I mean, they always sort of say, "Oh yeah, we'll try it sometime," but I know they won't. You know what I mean? So that is a downside, especially when it's loved ones, I think. But what can you do? You can't like you said, Larry, earlier on. You can't force people. You can't convince people that don't want to be convinced. So they need to find it for themselves. Like I say, it has gone past the hour. Is there anything anybody wants to see? Now we've gone almost 1 hour, 20 minutes. Is anything anybody wants to add in the chat? Richard, Larry, or Carl?
Well, I've got a great opportunity through George, who's like the puppet master. I'm like on his string sometimes.
Yeah,
he's helped me arrange to. I'm hopefully doing it this week. Have a chat with Ashley Lane, who's a 33-year-old boxer who last night, against all the odds, won the British and Commonwealth Phantomweight title. And I've been texting with him since that, and because he turned carnivore around about 2 years ago. He says he's not 100% straight on holidays, he has time out and all that, but he's done it, and he's basically rebuilt his boxing career. And obviously, I'm hoping to have a chat. So I'm hoping that people will pick up on that. I'm hoping to get it done this week, so get it out before the weekend before Easter. So I'm really looking forward to getting that done.
Carl, did you see the fight?
Yeah. Oh,
He destroyed
I've never
that
seen
guy.
such a one-sided
Destroyed
fight.
him.
And he was like 10-1 not to even do it. It was unbelievable.
It was amazing. Yeah. I mean, George sent that to me too. I'll have to see if I can get him on later because he's just that's a great
I'll send
story.
you his contact details, Larry, so you can follow up.
Yeah, let me get the information from you later. Shoot me an email.
No problem.
But on my channel, I just put out my 1-year video. So if you haven't watched it, that came out today. So go check it out, where I go over my thoughts on my being a carnivore for 1 year. Some of them I shared here, but some are not on this little stream. So you can go check that out and support my channel. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Richard, Carnivore, Carnivore Club. Is there anything happening?
There is going to be, as you know, I was unexpectedly dragged away for the last God knows how many weeks. So all the video footage that I've been doing to start putting my first videos up on the Caveman Carnivore Club YouTube site are all there in the bag. I've just got to go through editing, and now that I've gone through all my responsibilities in Saudi and stuff like that, I'm back. I only got back about 4 hours ago, so but now I'm into editing, so I'll be starting to upload my introduction video, my first YouTube video, and I've also got a series about 9 weeks, and I can continue this of my brother, whose name is Steve. He decided to go low carb and onto carnivore diet because he saw what happened to me, and I've been doing a weekly video interview, statistics, bloods, and everything with him. So I've got all those as well. So I'm going to start editing those out, and those will be coming out each week over the next few weeks as well. So you can see somebody who knows nothing about carnivore right up to the point with their full carnivore journey, right from the beginning in detail.
Oh, that's excellent. So
if there's anybody watching or listening, please pop over to Carnivore Club, the Caveman Carnivore Club. Give us a subscribe, and then you'll start to see the videos populate. Click on the bell, and you'll see the things coming through. Hopefully, content will be there very, very shortly.
Sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to that, actually. Yeah, I've been looking forward to your content for a while. So, yeah, I'll get over there as soon as I see it. So, as somebody mentioned in the comments, these channels are there just to spread the word, to show how the carnivore diet is affecting them positively. And even I do believe, like we've done in this video, mention the negatives, because, being prepared for it is a good way of, being successful at it. So if you do have time and you're not subscribed to any of these guys, go over. I think Carnivore Soldier Motors, we've got loads of your guests in the chat that's watched. I do appreciate you coming to here. Subscribe to myself, UK Carnivore Guy. Carnivore, the Carnivore Nation, absolutely fantastic. Go and check him out. And also Richard, he's just mentioned, his channel is Caveman Carnivore Club. So there you go. 4 channels for you to check out. So we'll leave it there. Thanks again for everybody in the chat. There's been loads I've missed. I do apologize, but it's really, really appreciated. If there's anything that you want to ask us, still you can comment once this video has gone out, and we can look at the comments in the actual chat as well after, and we can reply if need be, if there's something that you really want to ask. So that's going to be it. You guys take care. Everybody say goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to everybody for watching and listening. Really appreciate it, and the best of luck with your carnivore journeys.
Carnivore Soldier